Hi and welcome to the first video in a series of videos about minstrels. I never really know how to kind of go about this, whether I should go like verbal diarrhea and just throw things at you, or to kind of go very simple and to kind of try appease the most advanced players, or to kind of try and set it very low for new players. So I'm literally just going to throw things at you like verbal diarrhea, and you can deal with it as it comes. I'm going to try focus on blue and yellow minstrels, and I'm going to try show you what I think's right. It's probably definitely not right, so just do whatever you want to fine tune it, but at least it's a starting point and it's someone else's perception. As you can see, I've obviously picked a terrible race for the minstrel. I'm an elf. Dwarves, humans, hobbits, whatever, probably better. Even freaking high elves, which is what my second minstrel is probably better for a minstrel. So I pretty much get very few racial advantage compared to a lot of other classes. So yeah, we're going to start off looking at stats. Perfect. So what I want to look at now is obviously stats, which is what the first video is going to be about. Kind of what stats to aim for, how to try, plan your essences, what you can look at swapping out. Also when you're looting gear, what you want to prioritize. I want you to see, first of all, I'm going to look at stats completely untraded. As you see, receive a lot of buffs from traits, and on different builds you lose different traits. So obviously, I want you to see pretty much the base stat as much as possible. I do have swapper gear, I'm just warning you now, but this is pretty much what I'm running 80% of the time. Obviously, you can see here, let's start off with my morale pool. I would say you should never duck below 80k. I don't see 80k being anything decent to run by. I mean, I remember the first night we got T2 challenge on boss 1 with more death raid. I got maybe 2 or 3 hits from the boss and maybe sat at about 5k before the tank managed to pull off me. And if I'd had a low morale pool, we would have wiped. And just a high morale pool, especially in those fights where spirits are inducting, or the tank maybe can't collect all the threats, or there's poison or bleed damages and you have to try heal, because if you don't heal the tank, the group drops and you've got to take that extra damage. High morale pool is obviously great. Fights where you maybe take a 1 or 2 big knocks, but the rest of it's kind of small damage or whatever, and you don't really need to focus on it. You can obviously drop that vitality pool down, and then focus on other things like outgoing healing and such. Power, obviously not that important. I've never had a day's life struggle with power in my life, unless it was DPS on my mini. Armor, obviously, I mean, you're going to get it from your armor, so I'm not going to go too much into that. It does add to your mitigations, obviously, so higher armored rated kind of equipment is obviously better. Obviously, we get an morale pool from our vitality. Well, not as important as it was at the 105 cap. I'll try to explain a bit more as we look greater into stats. Okay, perfect. Offensive. Crit is the most important trait, or not trait, but stat that a minstrel needs to prioritize. It is after a big morale pool, or before even a big morale pool, is the most important. So you basically get to have 2 amounts here. If you're running solo, without a red cappy, or if you're running in the tank group and you don't have the red cappy with you, you need to have about 66k to crit cap yourself. The crit cap is 71k, and that's to get 25%. So as you can see here, I'm sat on exactly 24%. However, there is a hidden legacy, or not even a hidden legacy, but one of the legacies on the allies gives you an extra 5,000. And that is only for healing skills, so it won't pop up here. So you see I'm 24, but in actual fact I'll probably be sat just under 25k. Obviously, if you sat with the red cappy, he's giving you 10k plus on the buff. I can't remember, it's just over 10k, like maybe 10.3, I can't remember exactly. And obviously, if you run in DPS group or a 6-man with red cappy, you can drop this down to 56k. So if you try to gear your mini and you've maybe messed up your essences a bit and you only have 56k, maybe just request to be in the DPS group, because that way you will probably be, or you will be crit capped, because any good red cappy should be able to hit the sure strike buff. It's not that hard. And that should be maintained obviously 100% of the time, unless he's a really bad red cappy. Yeah, so I can show you the graph of crit rating. Obviously it's convex, which basically means diminishing returns, but it's pretty much pointless because that should be capped. You're not going to be sat lower on the curve. Finesse, obviously not very needed for healing, although I do want to point out that obviously some finesse isn't the worst thing in the world to be able to hit your piercing cry to activate resonant cry if you trade that way, or if you're interested in using healer strike, which is obviously your incoming healing modifier on yourself and a small fellowship heal. Finesse ain't bad. First mastery obviously completely useless to the cause. Attack mastery is something I want to go over in a little bit more detail. To explain to you, let's go on the basics first. I'd say 66% healing should probably be what you're aiming for on outgoing healing. I would say 66% or anything above that, because you don't want your heals to be too weak. It's obviously not the end all be all, and I'll go into relics in a second on your allies, which pretty much are the end all and be all of healing. But outgoing healing has its place. Obviously it's the multiplier, if you want to imagine it that way. Your tactical healing rating from your book mixed with or added with the tactical healing rating that you've slotted in your book and in your sword get multiplied by your outgoing healing multiplier. So obviously if it's 66%, that's what it gets multiplied by, and then that goes through whatever healing skill you use, and that creates the size of heal. So if one of those areas is lacking, obviously the healing amount isn't going to be the greatest. I'm going to also teach you a couple of ways to push up those numbers, and I might have to put some of them off public. Tactical outgoing healing rating, it's a confusing thing. I can't remember the exact number, so let me try to remember how it was. At the 105 cap, it was fairly low. If I remember correctly, it was 79,000. I think was the tactical healing cap. And what happened was tactical mastery capped a lot higher. I think it was 2 or 3 times higher than what tactical outgoing healing did. So if you ran 71k, you were heal capped. I think it was 71. So you were heal capped, so you could just like slot tactical mastery, or you didn't even have to worry too much because most of it came with will, and it scaled in a really good manner. So you could pretty much be crit and heal capped and everything just through tactical mastery, which meant you didn't have to slot DPS and healing gear. You could actually just run one set of gear for both. However, obviously now what's happened is tactical outgoing healing caps at 283k tactical mastery, where outgoing damage from tactical mastery caps at 223,000. So pretty much there's a whole 60,000 tactical mastery difference between them. So obviously you couldn't cap it using tactical mastery and run one set of gear. So what the devs have obviously done is made them outgoing healing essences and outgoing healing as a stat on gear. And that's pretty much it. It actually has the same 1-for-1 return as tactical mastery. If I may pull up 2 items here to show you. Here is 2 of the same cap slotted with tactical mastery and outgoing healing, and those numbers are exactly 1-for-1. However, obviously as you can see, there's pretty much 3,300 difference, and that's pretty much what they've done with outgoing healing, is to try help you to get towards the cap, which is 70%. Well, that's untraded 70%. You basically just get more outgoing healing for the essence, and also on gear that you slot. Obviously what they've done is they've just thrown a lot more outgoing healing on it. So unfortunately, that's just the way world classes have gone, so that you have to run 2 sets of gear and you can't run 1 set of gear anymore. And the tactical mastery slope is pretty much a straight gradient, so that means that every single point you add has the same value from the first point to the last point. However, outgoing healing is very convex. And what I mean by that is it's a large diminishing returns. So you kind of race up towards around the 63% mark, and then afterwards it actually kind of becomes less and less valuable the more you add to it. I think at this point every essence is only adding, I think, 1.2% or 1.3%. So obviously you don't want to run super high into it and lose out on other stats, maybe like more morale or something. Or that's why I have swapper gear, so that basically I can swap that number out and switch to pretty much what I would go for is a high outgoing healing build. There's more items here. No, that's not the right item. Here it is. So as you can see, with some swapper gear, I'm at 74% instead of the 66%. And obviously my morale has dropped to that 80k mark that I told you is pretty much the floor. I would not want to go below that. Fully buffed, I would still get somewhere quite high. I can't remember if I get over 100k with that. But I would say morale pool wise, I wouldn't want to drop below 100k. Let me just switch my gear back. So that's pretty much what my swappers are doing for me. But obviously 65-66% is kind of a really good place to be sat at. So that's pretty much it for crit and outgoing healing, and those pretty much are your major ones. Obviously the size of your heals, and crits, obviously the more often you crit and the faster that a mini heals. It's like a car pretty much going through the gears, and obviously it slows down again as your crits wear off, but the more speed you have, the more heals you can get out, therefore the more chances to crit, therefore the more healing speed you can maintain at a time. Light of Erendel, not really an issue at the moment with healing gear. There's no real other substitutes because all the other gear from most of the other runs is obviously doesn't prioritize outgoing healing, perhaps for some crits, but I haven't found really anything that's interested me otherwise. Resistance isn't actually a bad thing. It's obviously your chance to resist bleeds, poisons, things like that, disease, if you want to run COS and stuff. Obviously a high resistance pool isn't the worst thing in the world, but I wouldn't go too mental over it. Crit defense, obviously you're not going to hopefully take too many hits, although it isn't the worst thing. Mostly I really haven't prioritized these at all. That's why I've gone for the high morale pool. I've seen some minstrels stack crit defense instead of vitality, but I kind of find it as a waste because you shouldn't really take too much in that way, and also you're healing so quick you'll just bring yourself back up. I'd rather have a larger runway to be able to heal. Avoidances, I'll get into the allies after a while, but I have obviously slotted the brutality because, as you can see, and I'll get to it again in a second, my mitigations are pretty much minted. So if I didn't have attack mitigation, I would have slotted them in my allies, because avoidances, they're decent, but the healers shouldn't really be using them too much. The most important thing obviously is mitigations. Mitigations are what's going to save your life. And obviously you don't need swappers, because if you can heal at tier 2 run with fully capped mids, you don't need swappers for T1 stuff. 62k obviously is the cap. This is without any scrolls, any buffs, nothing. I'm really sat well over the cap, and that's just from virtues, and I went straight from mitigation virtues, which I probably should have swappers for, although I kind of like the idea of being well over capped without any buffs and stuff, because it kind of just means that if I drop in a raid and I get raised, I don't have to worry about trying to hit scrolls and hope tokens and everything to try and get myself up. I can just literally throw a hope token on and just carry on going. So that's pretty much the stat of it all. Obviously you can drop your mitigations down. Let me just mention that, if you take into account the 1.7 I believe from the scrolls, 1.6 you can drop down. And if you're in the way of being a sneaky minstrel and you know about stances and stuff, you could probably drop that as well. That would probably be, I think, another 3.5 that you could drop down. So you could probably be sat at maybe about 57k or something. Obviously, the mitigations do have a convex curve as well. And usually with other stats, convex curves are terrible, but with mitigations, it's not the worst thing. It pretty much means that as you put more mitigations in, you get diminishing returns, which means that you could be, sat on like 60 and still be smiling, even like fully buffed. But obviously, then I'd recommend a higher morale pool, because you will be taking a little bit more damage and stuff. But obviously, the gap between 60 to 62 isn't as bad as the gap from 58 to 60, if you know what I mean. That the gap there would be obviously a large gradient. So obviously I recommend capping mitigations, but if you have confidence in your ability and stuff and you want to get stats somewhere else or more vitality, I wouldn't really put it past. I mean, if anything, even if you just make your way to cap tactical mitigations and just hope that you don't get hit by anything physical, which is, I believe the Inducting Spirits in Boss 1 are physical, so I wouldn't risk it too much. But yeah, I hope that this helps you. Obviously, slotted wise, with all my armor, I have got my mitigations capped. I've not slotted any mitigation essences, so obviously just through armor alone and virtues, you can obviously do it easily. Other than that, pretty much what I've slotted is morale and then crit. Obviously, DPS wise, crit is still good for minstrel, so I've also used crit in terms of just for my actual DPS gear. So what you want to do is obviously get your crit capped, or priority wise mid cap, then definitely crit cap. Then I'd say 80k morale. Then I'd say go up to about 60 to 65% outgoing healing. Bit more morale, bit more healing, bit more morale, bit more healing. Kind of crawl up there. I don't really feel like there's much more I can do until I get more of the set bonus gear, which will come in time. And that's pretty much it.